This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
The drivers of the World GT Championship travel to Belgium this week as the endurance round of the World GT Championship gets underway tonight. Hello, everybody. For the iRacing Esports Network and Apex Racing TV, I'm Andrew Woodhouse, and I'm joined by Adam Bath in the commentary box, Alex Simpson on the cameras, and Adam, we arrive here at, it doesn't need an introduction, really, does it? It's a tremendous circuit.
Yeah, nestled in the heart of the Ardennes forest. It's got its own microclimate. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that on the iRacing service today. But yeah, looking forward to it. Just 22 points at the top of the table between Mark Fletcher and Keith Camilleri. And with this endurance round, you get points as the race goes on. So plenty to watch out for. And points could be shaken up a little bit by the time we get to the checkered flag at the end of this Enduro.
Yeah, Sorry for the silence there, everybody. Just a small hiccup. We're all good now. Mark Fletcher leads the way. Yeah, he started last meeting in 5th place in the driver's standings, Adam, but he charged through, especially in that first race, and really made it count.
Yeah, it really did, and it's helped him in terms of the championship. 22 points ahead of Keith Camilleri in second, and it's Christian Schallner down 2 places third, just a 2-point advantage over Michael Avdoka in fourth. Then it's Laszlo Kotrox in 5th, Lewis Bibby 6th, Brian Lockwood 7th. Then we've got Carl Janssen, Richard Gafenku, and Christian Rose rounding out the top 10 there. Then it's Chris Wood leading the way in the Pro-Am category, Mark Woodhouse 2nd, Michael Blake in 3rd, then Simon Underhill. And then we've got Ben Gregory from Bass, Matt Bunn, Jeroen Kaiser, Jake Blackwell, and Pete Newman rounding out the top 10 in the Pro-Am category. And moving over quickly to the team standings after 17 races, it's KC Racing Esports that have a 104-point lead, with Radicals Online Motorf in 2nd, TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport 3rd, Radicals Online in 4th, and then quite a long way back in 5th, it is CQR Club. Team Mad, the top Pro-Am team at the moment, and they really seem to be going about it quite well this season, just like they did in the BSRTC last season. Chris Wood atop the Pro-Am standings with Mark Woodhouse in 2nd there too, so they're doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, they are, and it's good to see drivers having good seasons, ones especially who've been in the championship for a while. Now, the track is on your screen. 22 degrees is the air temperature, and there's a fair wind, 15 kilometers an hour wind, so the drivers may have to worry about that in certain parts of the circuit. 6.93 kilometers, one of the longer tracks that we go to in the on the iRacing service, actually, Adam. It's quite a test, isn't it?
Really is, yeah, especially with some of the corners we're using here. Just checking to see what configuration of the circuit we are using today. We are using the endurance layout, so that does mean we'll be starting on the way into Radion. On the way into Eau Rouge. That's Eau Rouge, actually. And if you ask some of the best GT drivers, the ones that race in the Porsche Esports Super Cup, after being at the Sim Racing Expo a couple of weeks ago, even they can't take a rolling start at Spa without causing a whole lot of shenanigans. So hopefully these guys can show them up and do a good job as checker flags out in the qualifying session.
Yeah, and Keith Camilleri it is indeed with the fastest time as Mark Fletcher sets at the death his fastest lap of the session, 2 minutes 12.12. So there you go. Gets up to 5th place. Very good indeed. just ahead, 100th of a second, ahead of Christian Rose. Look at how close that is, Adam, between 4th and 7th. Just 600ths of a second between being on the 2nd row and being on the 4th row.
Yeah, 2:12.11 for Gafenku, 1:2 for Mark Fletcher, 1:3 for Christian Rose. And then, yeah, it's 1:7 for Nicholas Helm, and then 700 back from that, it's Barry Baird. So, sorry, 1700 back from that, it's Barry Baird. So, yeah, incredibly tight, and we're hoping this carries over to the race because this track, of course, lends itself to great racing, but it should carry forward as well because these GT cars, they can carry a bit of a tow. So, hopefully this carries forward. Michael Evdoka coming into the bus stop chicane now. A few green boxes to his name. I don't think that's going to help the lap. He's just run onto the AstroTurf. That is a off track, and as you can see, pulls over to the side of the road. Keith Camilleri not too far away either. Here is Richard Kafenko as well. He's going into the Fania chicane. A few green boxes for him as well.
Yeah, it's good to see some of the. It's good to see that the driver's still improving late on into the session. That's the durability of these GT tyres, these Michelin tyres that the drivers are using. Richard Gafenko then currently in 4th place. 1st and 2nd sector are personal bests. Wasn't so in the 3rd sector, but coming through Blanchimont, Adam, is what did he get an off track for that?
I reckon he might. We'll carry on. 2 yellow boxes in the last 2. It's a shame, really, because sector 2 was the best sector of the quali so far. Now you go into the pits.
There he comes, and he was the last one who was out there on a flying lap. So Gafenko misses out on the chance to go onto pole position, but I'm sure he'll be quite satisfied with his 4th place grid position. Now, Christian Challoner is one who's up there quite well in this race as well. I don't think he was he even at the last meeting? Is that why he's dropped down in the championship? No, I don't think he was. I don't think he was there. I don't remember him being there, that's for sure. Now, Keith Camilleri on pole position for KC Racing Esports. Michael Evdoka in 2nd for Texense Fitstyle Motorsport. Christian Challoner in 3rd for Radicals Online. Rich Gafenko 4th for KC Racing again. Mark Fletcher for Radicals Online Moat F in 5th. Christian Rose in 6th for CQR Club. Then it's Nicholas Helm for Nomad Sim Racing White. Barry Baird, his teammate, is in 8th. Marco Nomella is in 9th with Brandon Tabone in 10th. Lewis Bibby 11th and Ben Hackerson 12th. And then looking a bit further down, Simon Underhill in 13th, Ben Gregory in P14, 15th for Miguel Freitas, the first of the Team Mad Cars. Billy Fletcher in 16th with Richard Warmingham in 17th. Dan Kraft is P18. And 19th, Chris Wood. 20th, Ben Palmer. Mark Woodhouse in 21st. Dave Baker, 22nd. 23rd for Michael Blake. Then it's 24th for Michael Gray. Then it's Andy Shield in 25th. Lee Woodburn in 26th. 27th for Josh Rayfield. James Underhill in 29th. And bringing up the rear for BritTech Simsport is Ethan Bass.
Thank you very much, Woody. Here we go then. Not too long to go before we get the very short pace lap underway. We go through the bus stop chicane, then we go into the source, and then we'll get the green light going into Eau Rouge for the race. So
I'm not going to lie, it's somewhat of a relief, isn't it, to be starting just before Blanchimont, as you know. It would be about a 3-minute plus pace lap at the racing at safety car speeds.
Yeah, it would. It would be a very, very long lap. And shout, KC Racing's Richard Kafenko there, nearly running into the back of Michael Evdoka when we got going. They all start moving away now, and not too long to get the tyres up to temperature before we get going. And then you're going to go racing down the hill towards Longchamp and then Radion afterwards. You want to make sure you've got all the grip you need, because if you make a mistake there, you could have a big one. And then, of course, it's a long drag up to Lake Com, and then usually after that, it's still not over on the opening run.
No, we've seen that many, many times. I think 2009 at the start there as well. And think in Formula One, and think 2018 as well. Here we go then. Keith Camilleri, when's he going to hit it? Now's the answer. It's got them all napping. What a brilliant start there. As it's using the endurance pits, of course, so he's gone very early, Adam. They're only really supposed to go once they get out of La Source.
Yeah, we haven't even started the race yet. These guys are very eager. Here we go. Green lights are on, and now we're racing.
Yeah, and that will have confused a lot of drivers, and you might even see quite a few drivers potentially getting a. I don't know if you can get the penalties, can you, for overtaking before the green light on this layout? But yeah, he decided to just go way early. Did Camilleri? He's got 9/10 of a second out of that. And to be honest, that's about the only way you can get clear here at Spa-Francorchamps. Up the inside into Lecombe goes Richard Gefenku. He's having a look on Nicolas Helm. And Helm manages to stay ahead, but only just. And yeah, a big kerfuffle there, Adam, really. Camilleri, I don't really know why he was going so early. He must have known that the start line was round the corner, surely.
Yeah, I hope so. If Alex Simpson, our cameraman, knows all about this. If Max Beneke was fuming at Mitchell de Jong for the jump start that he did in the Sim Expo, then I think he'd be blowing a fuse, I think, if he saw the start there by Keith Camilleri as we go into P1. Looking here at Ben Gregory here in 16th. He's, very nearly colliding with the Citra Evolution car, Dan Kraft there. That's another quick part of the circuit. Now we go into the Fanny chicane and they're still wheel to wheel.
Yeah, Fanny chicane's a brilliant section. First right, then left, fourth gear corners, and then down into Stavolo. And then the second, which used to be Stavolo 2, it's now curved Paul Frere. Michael Evdoka, however, is reeling in Keith Camilleri after that lightning start. Well, maybe a bit premature start, let's be honest. Even if there's nothing wrong with it in the rules, Adam, it wasn't massively gentlemanly, really, was it?
No, not really. It's not in the spirit of it all, really. Usually wait until either at least at the final corner or when the green lights go on. But once the safety car comes into the pit lane, you technically can do what you want. It's a bit like in cricket when if the opposing batsman walks out their crease while you're about to bowl, I guess. But
you can technically knock the stumps over. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But, and there's nothing, and that would be out. But yeah, it's more of an etiquette thing, isn't it? Really. And there's there's a spinner, and it's Lewis Bibby, and he's around at the exit of La Source. I'm not quite sure what's gone on there for Bibby in the Fitzstein Motorsport car. He's dropped down the order though. From he was running in 11th place, Adam. Let's see.
Yeah, I think Lewis Bibby's just become the happiest person at this race. Is an hour and a half. Let's see what's going to happen here. Oh wow! Up the inside there goes one of the 686. That was.
Oh, that's very unusual.
Mark Namella.
Namella, yeah. I mean, it was only a very light tap. It's obviously unsettled the rear of the BMW. There wasn't really a lot wrong with the move, I have to say, but yeah, just a little contact, and round goes Bibby. See what the stewards have to say about that, no doubt, after the race. We're looking at Namella now, and he's just behind Barry Baird, who took a race victory last week at Laguna Seca.
A few packs starting to form already, really, isn't it? It's Barry Baird, then it's 1.7 seconds further up the road to Richard Gefenku in 6th place. It's relatively close between those guys. Baird stretching his legs a little bit through this middle sector. Now got just about half a second in hand over Marco Namella.
One thing we are seeing, Adam, in the early stages of this race is domination by Ferrari. They've got 6 out of the top 9 cars.
Yeah, they've really done well here. The last few tracks we've been to, especially in the early part of the season, BMW were right on form here, but Ferrari, the speed has helped them greatly. And look at that Ford there. That's Ben Hackerson. He's got a BMW for company in Simon Underhill, the highest Pro-Am driver in the field. He's looking around the outside of bus stop. He's not going to try and find too much glory there.
Ben Hackerson's won races in this series before, very experienced campaigner. Look at the lap time differences between the Pro and Pro-Am category then. Fastest Pro so far, 203.0. That can't be right at all, can it, at the moment? 212.2 for the Pro category. That makes more sense. By Mark Fletcher. And then it should trickle over to the fastest Pro-Am driver. We'll keep an eye on those lap time differences.
Yeah, I don't know what Chris Wood did to set a 2-minute .8. That must have.
Oh, he's crashed, I think. I think that's why.
Oh, he jumped to the pits. He probably, yeah, I was going to say either that or he's invented something clearly ahead of his time, but
Shortcut. That's what that is.
rolling down the hill as Keith
Got to know them.
I think we need to. Keith Camilleri then. He's got 4/10 of a second lead over Michael Evdoka. Last time around, Evdoka was slightly quicker, just a 10th of a second, but good to see an early battle developing here. KC Racing Esports, the top team in the team standings, versus TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport in third. They're only a couple of points away from Radicals Online Motive, though, so if Evdoka can get second place, or even better, get a win, they could elevate themselves up the table.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for them to take second place, isn't it? But we saw Motef move up from 4th to 2nd last week, and we found out, just in case you didn't stick around for the post-race show last week, we did find out that Motef stands for my opinion and therefore fact. But the fact is, they could lose that second place today.
Yeah, we couldn't really get the points up on the screen to tell you just how close it is, but going into this race meeting, Radicals Online are 164 points away from KC Racing, and then it's a 13-point gap back to TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport, so not too much in the way of things at all. As Hackerson's dropping down the order.
Hackerson, yeah, the Ford driver is in the pits.
So too is Mark Fletcher. My opinion,
big one.
Yeah, he's in.
Now, I wondered if this is all stemming, Adam, from the start.
Well then, yeah, because
I wonder if this is people who've maybe made quote-unquote illegal overtakes. I do not know.
Well, I did a NASCAR race on an oval a couple of weeks ago when I just got this new wheel, and if you pass to the outside of the car in front, to the inside of the car in front, you've got a penalty. Yep. So and maybe these guys have done it, and it does make sense because you get 3 laps to serve your penalty, and it's the end of lap 2. So Fletcher in, Hackerson in 2. So a few cars.
I think it's well, we don't know why these penalties are being what we assume are penalties being dished out. Now, it could be fuel strategy, of course, but
they're both Radicals cars, so that could make sense.
It is about 45 minutes for a tank of fuel in these GT cars, so.
There we go. So just to clarify, it looks like that the overtaking rules do not apply on the road course. And
Underhill getting very sideways coming out of Liège, and
yeah.
Fletcher is having a look round the outside. This is Billy Fletcher. Oh, and he's gone. He's lost it. He's lost it big time. He's taking another couple of cars with him. There's a spinner.
Oh my word, there's a CQR car in the middle of the track, and fortunately he reverses out of the way too.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who the CQR car is. It might be Dan Kraft, is it, who's been turned around? What happened to Fletcher? What on earth happened? Because Adam, he was shaping up for a move on Underhill.
Power down. Oh.
That looks like some kind of screen freeze or something, maybe, or.
Yeah, he was turning more. He was just continuing to turn left, wasn't he?
Yeah, he turned more than the radius of the corner required. It's very strange.
Well, anyway, that's moved him. He's had to tow back. He's had to tow back to the pits as a result. So you do get a fast repair in this series. So if he can get that whatever issue it was fixed, he'll be back out there in no time. Ben Palmer was there. He's gone. He's back, and he's gone again.
He had a bit of problems with this before, didn't he? He's struggling away though, really struggling. Christian Challoner set the fastest final sector of the race on the previous lap with the in third place. Yeah, just about 2.3 seconds behind Michael Evdoka. Up the hill then at Radion. Here he goes. Warmingham side by side with side by side with Palmer. Palmer's disappearing again. And this is a ridiculous battle. They're both disappearing. That's madness. how does Richard Warmingham know where Palmer is? I've absolutely no idea. And there's a Porsche of Christian Rose, and we found out recently, Adam, that there's going to be a GT4 Porsche Cayman coming to iRacing.
Yeah, what was a pretty groundbreaking moment in the world of iRacing. Obviously, Porsche have been pumping money into the Porsche Esports Super Cup. iRacing was at the Frankfurt Motor Show the other day, and yeah, they made this new announcement: Porsche Championship coming soon. Obviously, many people were upset with the demise of the VRS Championship, but this looks like a potentially good replacement to it. The success.
I'm excited. I like GT4 racing. I like the cars. I like the way they handle. I like the racing. So hopefully, it might be something I'll get involved in. Certainly, I've done okay on GT4 racing before.
Too dissimilar from the TCR, really. It's almost like rear-wheel drive TCR cars, like the Ginettas and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's similar speeds. It's probably slightly faster speeds, but yeah, similar racing. Hopefully, if the racing's anything like as good as it is in the Audi TCR. Oh, and and that's Palmer and Warmingham. I think they've gone.
The one
Palmer
time
certainly has.
The one time that Ben Palmer wished he disappeared. Yeah, he's going to have to get going again. He cuts the inside of the course, but he should be able to serve that slowdown pretty much straight away. And yeah, he's down to, but he's back where he started. He's managed to land on the snake, and he's gone all the way back down to 20th place.
Of course, the demands of this race very different to a lot of the regular World GT Championship races, being an hour and a half. Obviously, a lot more concentration is needed over a longer period of time. This is not a team race. For those who are new to the series, it is a single driver race, so responsible for the whole 90 minutes. And I mean, Adam, I know we've not done really a lot of this type of racing, this length racing, but we've done Le Mans in the past, and it does take a lot of concentration to do those stints. But the pace is quicker in this kind of race because, of course, these drivers are basically just racing flat out for an hour and a half. At Le Mans, you can kind of just do a fairly fast pace, but here the drivers are doing qualifying laps.
Yeah, gone are the days where an hour and a half was probably one of the longer forms of sim racing, because of course we now got the teams and the driver changes and whatnot. So these drivers are pretty used to it. Obviously, a few of these drivers, they race in some of the shorter series that we have on Apex Racing TV. Welcome to everybody on the iRacing Esports Network as well. So when it comes to races like this at this distance, then they may be at a disadvantage. But you are right. It does definitely take the life out of you. We did 3 races last night, and I for one was pretty exhausted by the end, and we were only racing at Silverstone National, Spa as well. That's going to take quite a lot out of you too.
Although the one thing that you can say about Spa is that oh, and is that a lockup by Gafencu? I think it was, and Challoner and Baird is through. Baird through into 5th. I'm not quite sure what happened to Gafencu there, but saw a big puff of smoke. I would assume that was a lockup that's ruined his lap. But here he comes again, trying to get back at Barry Baird.
Yeah, we heard the revs drop, which almost certainly means that he was jamming on the brakes. But here we go. Rally on over the top of the hill, and now we're going to get a bit of the slipstream Ferrari v BMW. The BM is a very big car to get by, as we know.
A little bit of the slipstream for Gafencu. He pulls out of there, goes to the left-hand side, trying to go round the outside of the first part of the comp. Now he's on the inside for the second part. He's on the outside for Malmedy. And then he's going to be on the outside again for Rivas. Don't discount Mikko Nurmela, who's just behind them.
Side by side through the hairpin into the left-hander. Jackie Ixcurve, I think they were calling it the sim racing episode as well.
I think there's a few. It's got 3 names now. From having none, it's got 3.
It's like London Bus. through on we go then, and a great run by Nurmela as well in the Racecraft Esports car. He's right on the back of these two now, going into the Spanish chicane. And look how much time they've lost to Challoner as well. 2.1 seconds the gap has opened up to just on that last lap.
Yeah, it's costing them slightly, isn't it? this battle that they're undertaking. But Hjelm, we saw him at Laguna Seca, he was very fast, wasn't he? He was in top 5, top 10 material in all 3 rounds, but he had a couple of crashes. He had one at the corkscrew, I think, where he completely missed his braking point. So he's got something to prove tonight.
Oh. They left their apparently the early pitters because they left their quali fuel in the car. Oh, just Billy.
Billy Fletcher. So what happened to Mark Fletcher then? I wonder. That's
yeah.
That's what I would like to know. But we'll see if we can find that information out. We'll get Alex onto that one. Potentially in a bit.
The power of live TV, the use of an earpiece here. We're getting fed information, trying to talk while it's going on. Quite fun.
I'll tell you what, it's very difficult as well. You don't appreciate after 9 years of it not being this way. Doing it this way is quite tough. But yeah, it's definitely good for information purposes and information that Nicholas Hjelm will be getting in his eyes with the rear view mirror, in his ears with the sound of that straight 6 Porsche just absolutely monstering him just a couple of tenths behind. He will know that Christian Challener means business.
Does. So we're 1/6 distance already. If this was a normal race meeting in the World GT Championship with 4 minutes from home, so that shows the sheer contrast in the race lengths here in the enduro format. And
they're not hanging around, Adam, either, are they? Even though, you know, this is an hour-and-a-half race, these lap times are very strong indeed.
Into the Fanny chicane then. A little bit of outside curve there by the Radicals Online Turn Racing car. A little bit of the
outside curve.
Now into the right-hander at Stabilo towards curve Porfrere we go. Running a little bit of the AstroTurf there on the exit. And a little bit of the runoff area maybe here too.
There you go. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, as they say. And a little bit of the slipstream for Challener. Let's see what he can do then. He does have an opportunity into the bus stop chicane if he wants it, but is he going to go inside? Is he going to go outside, Adam? That's the question. You can see the speeds up over 260 kilometers an hour. It's about 175 miles an hour, and he goes in for the lunge. Hjelm resists it. Who's got the better exit? It's the Ferrari.
Yeah, he tries to do the cutback on the exit there, Challener. It might still pay off. Is he going to throw it at the inside? Maybe send a late move there? No, he isn't. He's going to try and get... Oh,
he's lost it. Although, is that the old after you into La Source? So he can have the advantage up the hill into Licon. We'll see.
Now, Challener is the hunted, but...
Hjelm's got issues. He's dropping time, hand over fist on the way out of the... out of La Source. Now he's under a lot of pressure from the BMW. I wonder if he's got damage.
Here comes Barry Baird. Nomad Sim Racing white car is going to slingshot by into 4th, and he's got it. 4 places gained for Barry.
Wonder if Hjelm was suffering after the slight contact. I wonder if we can get a replay, possibly, Alex, of the contact in the chicane, just to see how much contact there was, if any. Maybe from an external point of view, but we'll see what there was. It's just the aftermath of it.
Set up there. Let's see into the source. What causes it?
Does he break on the grass or something? What's he do? Okay. No, he just misses it. He locks the rears, and that gets him sideways. But yeah, I wonder if we could look at the chicane and see just prior to that and see what he. Very weird. It's almost like he had a penalty, but here we go. He lunges up the inside. Oh, you know, I don't think there was any contact, Adam. I think it was fairly clean. Yeah,
which has confused me a little bit as we go back to live. Here is Keith Camilleri, the Maltese driver, and not been able to drop Michael Evdoka. The gap remains around half a second for the past 20 minutes as they come out of the final corner now over the line. See what the lap times are like. 2:12.8 was the fastest lap that Keith Camilleri set. He did a 2:13.7, 2:13.8 for Ev Doak on that last lap. So they're not, so they're just about a second slower than what they once were. In a battle behind, Richard Gafencu has just passed Nicholas Helm. So that is Gafencu in 5th, Helm down to 6th place now. He was in 3rd a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, something's happening really with this car. I don't know what it is, but Nicholas Helm is suffering quite badly now. Even in the slipstream of the Ferrari, the BMW is still coming past Nurmela, although Helm is then trying to attack Gafencu on the outside. Nurmela flies up the inside into Lecomte, then has the inside for Malmedy, and that's key. But can he defend in time to block the line into Rivage? He does. Oh, Helm thought about sending it, didn't he, into Rivage, and it's not a corner really that a lot of overtaking gets done, because your car just wants to understeer through there.
Really does, yeah. Even in a rear-wheel drive, really powerful car like this, it still just wants to drift away from you going into Rivage. And
even F1 cars don't like it.
Oh yeah, just ask Hamilton about that. Now, it was even in the wet in 2010 when he did that. You will be starting to notice that the artificial light is taking over here. It's coming up to 7:45 at night in the sim, and I reckon we've just over an hour to go. I wonder if we'll be slowly going into darkness by the time the checkered flag comes out. I genuinely think we might even see the moon here.
You beat me to it. You beat me to it by a second.
Maybe so, yeah. I reckon we might just get dark, not too.
Yeah, headlights then are going to be prominent for the drivers. And that takes on a life of its own as well, doesn't it, Adam, where some drivers prefer the evening driving, some prefer the daytime. Some don't like. I know I'm not really a big fan of the dusk because of the how low the sun is. Now this is Andy Schio putting pressure on the Fitzstein Motorsport car of Ben Gregory.
Gregory will be loving this at the moment. He's the second highest Pro-Am driver in the field. Good opportunity to gain some points on the 4 Pro-Am drivers ahead of him in the championship.
Of course, isn't Sam Fitzpatrick the team principal of this team? Is he not?
He is, yeah. Yeah, he is.
Or co-team principal? One or the other.
Yeah, former commentator on this series. He'll be keeping a watchful eye on these guys. Ben Palmer, according to my event view, he's been in the pits 14 times. He's got a whole load of issues, hasn't he? He's a teammate, in fact, of Andy Schio.
Yeah, and here comes Schio then. In car 007. He'll be hoping he doesn't bond with the car of Ben Gregory.
Good.
And he's through into Lecomte. And, oh, can he keep it, though, ahead of Gregory? Gregory will have a look. Oh, he's not shy as Ben Gregory of having a move, I tell you that.
God. Never mind Casino Royale, this is Spa Royale right here, going through the left-hander. That was terrible. On the way down to... On the way down
best.
I was going to say that P12 is not enough for Andy Schio. He's going to get a bit, because he's got 13 places already. So
the World GT Championship is not enough.
Right. Finish again. Ben Gregory now down to 13th place. He's got Dave Baker, familiar face, right behind him. A good race by Baker so far. He's been on the loud pedal. He's gained 8 places to get into P14, and the Porsche is hoping to gain a few more places. In fact, he's the 3rd highest Porsche in the field behind Christian Rose and Christian Stallman.
Yeah, it wasn't a great qualifying for Baker, down in 27th place, but 22nd place, but 14th now. We can see him closing on this group that we were just watching. Shield versus Gregory versus Baker. Again, Dave Baker's he's built for endurance racing, really, isn't he, Adam? In his style and now how smooth he is and that, I think he's going to get the best out of the car over 90 minutes, you would think. Somebody else who's getting good amount out of the car, actually, is Miguel Freitas. He started in 15th place. He's up to 11. Ethan Bass started at the back. He's up to 19th place. And that actually shows we have had quite a lot of drivers who've had some issues, haven't we, really? Looking at drivers who are sort of off the pace or have been in the pits for an unscheduled stop. You're looking at Ben Hackison, Chris Wood, James Underhill, Ben Palmer, who we think is out now due to possibly internet issues. Mark Fletcher is back on the track, but he's 5 laps down. Josh Rayfield is out. Billy Fletcher we saw at Pouon and Woodburn, and there's a problem for Gregory. I think Gregory is gone.
He is. He's still off the track. In fact, there you go. That's the exit of the bus. The Lacombe chicane, and judging from the tyre marks,
It's a weird place to crash, isn't it?
I have got a rough idea of what happened. Maybe it was in the process of being overtaken by Dave Baker. Here we go. This is a replay.
This is Baker up the inside then. Oh, Baker hits him. And around goes Gregory.
And it wasn't too much of a rub, was it? But it was enough to send the Ferrari around.
And then I think he was pausing on the grass. I think he was probably trying to get his traction control back on. For the spin turn, you would think. These cars do usually have traction control enabled. So if you do get spun, it's not that easy to get them around again. Now this one could come to a head very soon, couldn't it, Adam? Nomella, Helm, Gefenku, Tabone.
And it happened at the beginning of the lap. Its normal order has been restored a bit. At the beginning of the lap, Richard Gefenku had got by Nicholas Helm, but Helm was able to get back by and remains in P6 and has got a little bit in hand. But the KC Racing car with the pink mirrors, car 44, Gefenku, is coming, and he's bringing his KC Racing teammate with him in Brandon Tabone.
Tabone, of course, who had that spectacular off at Corkscrew last week, although quite a few people did have offs at the Corkscrew. Christian Rose is coming behind this group as well. He's just 1.1 seconds at a drift of Tabone of the KC Racing pair.
What I can remember about the Endurance Series is that at the 45-minute mark, the halfway point, race points are awarded. Of course, then when the checker flag comes out for officially at 90 minutes, then some more race points come out too. So plenty for the drivers to focus on during the 90-minute race, and of course we still haven't had the pit stops yet. So we've got that to look forward to as well.
This is where quite a lot of close battles might become split up, but also quite a lot of drivers who haven't really had anybody to battle with after the pit stops could well find themselves with some company, and someone who's had company for pretty much the whole race apart from the first corner really was Keith Camilleri. Dan Kraft's had a problem. He's lost about 4 seconds here. Not really sure what that's about, but down in 18th place, Dan Kraft. But we'll have a look at this slipstream from Evdoka. Might even have a move for the lead into the bus stop, Adam, this time.
Yeah, maybe this first part of the race, so just thinking about maybe the strategy and Evdoka maybe thinking about the fuel, but
he lifted before Blanchimont. So I think he's fuel saving Michael Evdoka, and why not? He's got he is in the position that he can do that. Ethan Bass is up to 17th place as well, so he's getting another 2 spots since we last checked in with him.
And the thing with Evdoka is that he can tell with the slipstream by doing that if he's on it fully, he has a chance to get by Keith Camilleri, but you still got to get by him, and maybe he's going to either use the pit stop window to do that, or once he knows he's all A-OK with the fuel, he can then start to apply the pressure. So he's in the position now to get the win, but it's just that he's got to get by Keith Camilleri, and that is easier said than done.
You see it in bike racing quite a lot, don't you, where the rider will sit behind another one for many laps and just suss out where they can pass and where they can't. Oh, Challoner versus Baird. I think that's going on into Lecombe. Oh, it was very close. He was certainly having a look. Was Baird. But yeah, he couldn't quite get past Challenger at the end of the Long Kemmel Straight. There's the iRatings on the screen for you. Pretty much everybody's Class A, which you would largely expect here.
Yeah.
Some very strong iRatings up there, though. Challenger actually has the highest iRating in the field, 6.6k. And then it's Baker and Camilleri, 5.4k. So some very highly rated drivers there. And Ethan Bass, for a driver of 1.6k, having a terrific race out there. And doing lap times quicker than some drivers in the top 10.
Yeah, doing it for the 1.6k crew. Representing here, I'm on 1.7 actually, but yeah, doing it for the guys that, like that. So here is Simon Underhill, his teammate. Is sat in 12th place, car 170. He's got a half a second advantage over the Sim Sports Racing USA car of Andy Shield, who's left for Warmingham behind now, 1.7 seconds ahead of him, and now trying to get past the Nomad Sim Racing black car going into the Stop chicane. They're just behind Miguel Freitas, who got past Underhill a couple of laps ago. So car 999 now gained 5 places to start, and has cracked the top 10 as well, as we are now just past the 1/3 distance.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be able to put any pressure on Freitas going up the hill here as just under an hour to go then. It definitely changes the flow of a meeting, doesn't it, Adam, when you go from 3 races to 1? It might increase the urgency for some of the drivers, actually, but others will take a more measured approach.
Some of the tracks we've been to this season for the 90-minute races have been pretty interesting. We went to Belle Isle in Detroit for an hour and a half special there. That was pretty interesting. I think
that's a tough one to survive, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we commentate on some PSR-TC there. I think you might even have raced in one of them where...
I did, yeah.
And that was just a sprint race for that. And I think the second enduro was at Circuit de la Sarthe a couple of weeks. Yeah, some big contrast. And here we are at Spa for, I think, the final one of the season.
Well, the GTE cars do make their home at Le Mans. So, yeah, good choice there, really. This is Tabone versus Christian Rose. This is split apart slightly. Rose will want to get past Tabone if he can, Adam, because he doesn't want to really lose touch with Gefenku and Hjelm and Nurmela. Just slightly ahead. 1 second separates. 1 second each, really, between them. Right then.
Yeah, Fruit Blanche on it now. Yeah, I was just having a check on the Enduros on the calendar. But Fruit Blanche on we go. And this is where Jensen Button and Sebastian Vettel famously collided in 2010.
In slippery conditions. A few guys went off there, didn't they, as well? It wasn't just them, I think.
Yeah, that same year, there was Barrichello flying inside of Alonso right at the end of lap 1.
Yeah. Here comes Christian Rose, and he's got a good run this time. Less than 4 tenths, and that is not going to be 4 tenths once he gets to the end of the Kemmel Straight.
I'm wrong. The other Enduro was at Monza. There you go. But yeah, this
Monza's a good one for endurance racing.
Yeah, and a good run as well by Christian Rose.
Great
Here we
run.
go.
There he goes. He's going to pull to the inside. Tabone does not defend the position. At least not by changing line, at least. Does he try and go around the outside? No, he didn't really know what he wanted to do, did he?
He held the door open a little bit there.
It's like he realised halfway through, he just kind of went, oh, actually, I don't really want to give up the place. But yeah, it was too late by then.
Anyway, Christian Rose through into 8th, and he's only 2 places away from where he started now. But he's got a bit of a gap to negate. He's 2.5 seconds away from the next car ahead, which is Richard Gefenku. Got one more Enduro to come after this, in fact, in the season, which I'm looking forward to. Is it the brand new Silverstone? The new Silverstone to iRacing. It'll be fun. the wing pits. Alex
Yeah.
Simpson, our cameraman, was pointing out to us the other day that it's not been set. Speed limit hasn't been set on iRacing so that if you come into the pits, you don't set a quicker lap time than if you stayed out.
It's literally it must have been literally scanned in 2010 then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
2011 because it was just after that race I think that they changed that.
the fight for 10th continues. Underhill has now got back ahead of Miguel Freitas, so the Portuguese is back down to 11th and is going to try and get back past the BMW. The top Pro-Am driver as well is Simon Underhill. You can see them by the red markings on the timing tower. You've got Mark Woodhouse in second in the Pro-Am category. Then it's Ethan Bass third in that class. Then it's Ben Gregory after his little spin earlier. He's now a bit further down the order in that class. And then it's Michael Blake in P5. Yes, in that class. So he's in 20th place overall in class that is P5.
Yeah, and speaking of classes, actually, speaking of the Pro-Am category, Simon Underhill's leading the way in that by quite some distance. And then it's Woodhouse, and then it's Bass, Gregory, and Michael Blake. And Michael Blake did not have a good start. He was down. There's a side by side behind these guys. It's for 13th and 14th, Bibby versus Warmingham. So Lewis Bibby, who of course was facing the wrong way on lap 1, Adam, is now back up into 13th place and making very good progress out there.
Yeah, we were saying at the end. I was saying at the end of that one, he'd be pretty happy that this race is an hour and a half, and we can see that he's up to 13th place. Yeah, only two places away from where he started, and he could be about to get another one back here in fact he could be about to lose one because Richard Warmingham is right behind him. XVR Sim Racing, 3 steps per second in it. Dan Kraft has just come into the pits incidentally in the Seeker Evolution car. I wonder if that could be a bit of foreboding for when the pit stops get underway, because we're not too far away from the halfway point in this race. Paul Fair we go then. Let's see if Warmingham can close this 4 tenths of a second gap down on the run into the bus stop chicane. It is BMW v BMW here, so it's all going to be about the setup of the car. Maybe whether Warmingham has got a bit of strategy up his sleeve. XVR Sim Racing have been pretty good at that this season. On the brakes we go, and closes up a little bit.
That. Yeah,
look at the braking ability.
Very good. No ABS on these cars. Oh, dear me. Nearly loses the car on the throttle though, not the brake. The braking wasn't the problem that time for Warmingham.
Andy Shield was gone for Bree. Oh, he's got his connection as his teammate Ben Palmer as we cut to the race lead.
Must purchase their internet from the same people. Here comes McLaren Docker. He's trying to. That's the first time in a while he's really. It really seems like he's looking to be aggressive on Camilleri. I wonder if he's got something planned before the pit stops. Or will the fuel saved, Adam, mean that he can do it in the pits?
Maybe, because let's not forget, it is one of the longest pit lanes on the sim, the endurance layout. You've got to go through the GP pits first, which I don't even think we use because there's not enough cars. We haven't got enough cars in the field to use it. And then you've got to get through La Source in the pit lane, which is tough in itself because there's a lot of concrete walls that I think Paul Smith's teammate flipped over. And it was Ash Blake Hood, I think, that managed to do that a long time ago. And then you've got to get into the pit lane, get the car fueled up and whatnot, and then get back going again on the exit of the endurance pit lane, which is through Eau Rouge, and rejoin on the exit of Radion. So there is quite a lot to do. Plus, of course, you've got to try and set your fuel and uncheck whatnot if you haven't done that already. So these pit stops are going to be pretty interesting in determining who's going to win this race here.
And all of this before the halfway point. So, that was a little bit too much curb for Camilleri. drivers are struggling to get the traction down coming out of the last corner. As the sun gets ever lower in the sky, visibility might get slightly worse for the drivers before it gets better.
Yeah, I think this bit of track here that we're going to see is just going to get more and more orange as we go along. 2 tenths of a second between Camilleri and Evdoka.
Love that camera angle going up the hill. Just show as well that nobody is actually outside of the white line on there, so you must be able to get away with it. Here is Evdoka. Now he goes to the outside. Now for the first time he goes alongside Keith Camilleri. He's trying to do him on the brakes. He's trying to go around the outside into Lecom. I think there might have been a slight bit of contact. I don't know if he just nudged him, Adam.
Slight brush, I reckon, maybe just about. But,
it was very much a Hamilton and Rosberg in 2014 little brush, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Completely different cars, though.
Oh, definitely. No chance of getting a puncture with these lot. I think maybe if the damage model was at its fullest, we may have got a bit of tyre rub between maybe a bit of one of the panels and one of the wheels, but no harm, no foul here. They're both able to continue. Evdoka really has only lost about 10th or 2 in the whole aftermath of all that. The gap around half a second now, but he's within striking distance, and if he wants to try and get by again, I'm sure he will try and mount something now going through the Fanion chicane and into Stavolo here. We are 4 minutes away from the halfway point. Maybe Evdoka thinks I can get by him and take the half race victory points here.
That could be exactly what he's going for, yeah. I hadn't really considered that, I must admit. But if there's a chance of nicking those extra points, because Camilleri is 59 points ahead of him in the championship, so yeah, even though this is just the halfway point of the season, round 18 of 37. It's right in the middle. Almost, anyway, very nearly. So every point counts.
We've got plenty to look forward to as well. We have a week's break next week, but after that we've got Twin Ring Motegi for 3 20-minute sprint races. We've got Kota. We've got the new Silverstone for the final hour and a half enduro of the season. Then we've got Road America, the Bend layout, and then Catalunya and then Watkins Glen to end the season. So a massive variety there.
You know what's really interesting as well? This means that Challoner and Baird are just under 2.5 seconds behind this group. This battle. Again, Camilleri defends. This time he defends the inside, and Evdoka does not get an overlap.
Nicholas Helm is back on a resurgence. I think him and Namella were very, very close on that lap. I saw the positions change for a brief moment, but it looks like the Racecraft Esports cars managed to hold on to his place. Helm remains in.
Namella went. They passed each other on that lap, it looks like.
Maybe I can imagine what I think it is.
This is a great run. Sorry, I didn't interrupt, but this is a brilliant run by Evdoka. He might even be able to challenge into the Fanion chicane. Well, not quite. Oh, he's flashing the lights now at Camilleri, though. What can he do? Who knows? A few drivers setting fastest sectors as well as the fuel burns off and the tyres are coming back to them. Still, none of the front runners have pitted. Still, none of the top 19 drivers have pitted. As Evdoka gets within 0.3 of a second, but I think he's saving fuel because he was actually losing time there despite being right in the slipstream. Look at Christian Challoner. Adam, we mentioned him earlier on, the highest I-rated driver in the field, and he is now in a position where he's going to start picking up the slipstream, and it's going to become a 4-way battle for this race victory.
Yeah, he was almost a second quicker than them both on that last lap. And I think he was almost a second quicker on the previous tour as well. So the last 2 laps, he's almost taken the best part of 2 seconds out of them. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. We've got in the last 3 laps, half a second, 6 tenths, and then 8 tenths on that last lap. So he's definitely closing the gap, and maybe Evdoka knows
he's
that.
Very
he's trying
close.
to get by.
It's very close this time, is Evdoka. Challoner and Baird almost doing their fastest laps of the race. And Evdoka now, he was just too close, wasn't he? Yeah, I think he was too close up Radion. He couldn't get any momentum in the slipstream to get past Camilleri, and decided, I think halfway down the straight, that he couldn't be done and he would wait for next time. But he certainly is trying now to unsettle the KC Racing Esports driver, who has led from pole position. He had a very interesting getaway from the pace lap. But he's made it work for him, Adam. He's still there 45 minutes into the race.
5 laps to go. The gap was 3.4 seconds. Now it's just over 1 second between second and third. And with the pit stop still to come as well, this is really going to take on another dimension. It's like this fight for the race victory. Maybe not even rule out Barry Baird either. These four, this quartet, are 6.6 seconds ahead of Marco Nermiller in P5. And they've really put some distance. We are now past the halfway mark in the race. So Keith Camilleri has picked up a whole load of points. So too has everybody else for the positions they currently occupy. Now it's a straight out blast to the end. So we've got on the home straight now, on the return leg, for less than 45 minutes to go. And Keith Camilleri continues to lead for how much longer?
That's it. And how much longer before they come into the pits as well? Must be getting close to the window. Must be getting close. As again he flashes the lights, Evdoka. But maybe he'll have to be looking behind him soon rather than in front. And that could work to Camilleri's advantage, because if Christian and Barry can get there, well, they are there, aren't they? But if they can get right on the back of Evdoka, then his focus is going to have to shift, and that's when Camilleri has to really punch it. This is a good run for Evdoka, though. He's got a much longer slipstream, Adam. He's got to get better overspeed. No, he's not. He's lifting off again. He's still saving fuel. They can't resist saving fuel, can they?
Oh, yeah, we indirectly mentioned Casino Royale, but it's like a well-played game of poker, this, what's going on at the very front. And Docker, it's all about a waiting game of whether he's going to try and get by or not, and maybe he's just going to wait for the pit stops. We saw this quite a lot in the Ritmatech Sports Car Series, another championship that we broadcast on Apex Racing TV, where for the first half, maybe 2/3 of the race, the cars are just running around and not really trying to take too many risks in trying to get by one another. Then you have the pit stops. Once you get out of the way, then it's a flat-out race. So hopefully these guys are just as close as they are now once the pit stops are said and done, because right now this is turning into a really, really intriguing race.
I think it's anybody's game at the moment. You know, Christian Rose in 8th place. He's only about 10 seconds off the lead as well. So if it does get mixed up into a big scrap, I wonder if we can get the gap to leader on the screen, Alex, if possible. Just to illustrate that point. Because if they do start scrapping, Adam, you can see there, 11.6 back to 8th place. With 40, well, with just, well... Oh, he's going into the pits. I thought he made a mistake there, Camilleri. He's going into the pits. Now this is where Evdoka and Challoner have to put in a great lap now. This has to be the best lap that they've done all race. They can't get mixed up with each other, because otherwise they'll lose the chance to leapfrog Keith Camilleri. Camilleri has to have the pit stop of his life in this obscenely long pit lane that is the endurance pits here at Spa.
Yeah, the proverbial pin has been pulled, I think, by Michael Evdoka. At least you'd hope so for his sake. Anyway, let's see what these guys can do. A scrap for the race lead right now is not what these guys wanted. It looks like Christian Challoner wants it.
Freitas is into the pits as well, as is Bibby, as is Baker, but this is the story on track now. Christian Challoner, he closed that gap down from 5 seconds, and now he takes the lead of the endurance race here in the World GT Championship. And Christian Challoner, well, I'll tell you what, that's the sucker punch, isn't it, basically, because he's only just caught up to Evdoka, and now he unleashes the Porsche.
Been Ferrari dominant so far today. Could we be about to see Porsche's hand in this one. It was a 1-2-3 for Ferrari before the pit stops got going, and now all of a sudden we've got a Porsche leading. Of course, these two have yet to come in to make their stop. Just to update you, Camilleri has only just got in his pit box. He's been in there for about the last 10 seconds or so. So that is an indication of how long this pit lane is. You're pretty much losing the best part of 2/3 of a lap being in the pits.
Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it? We'll see.
Back
Yeah,
out now.
1 minute and 5. 1 minute and 6. I think he's still losing a bit of time. There it is now, 107, 108. So yeah, it's just a lot. 68 seconds then is the pit lane lost. So maybe a bit more as it carries on, the gap growing between the leaders and Keith Camilleri. But Christian Challoner, he's come from what was almost nowhere and completely caught Evdoka napping, I think.
It was the speed that surprised us as well. Within 3 laps, he managed to gain the best part of 2.5 seconds. Let's see if he comes into the pits this time. He stays out. The top 2 stay out. The top 3 stay out.
One thing I will say though, Adam, is you can guarantee that Michael Evdoka has saved more fuel than Christian Challoner, and maybe that's what Evdoka is counting on here, because maybe that's why he didn't fight him that hard, because he knows that he can go longer than him.
Even though he didn't fight him that hard, look at the difference in the lap times at the end of that last lap. 2:13 dead, personal best for Challoner, 2:13.8 for Evdoka. So there's your proof that the fuel is being saved. And now,
tell you what, if you can do your personal best lap after 51 minutes, though, you're doing a damn good job.
Yeah, it's almost like us in the TCR cars. I think it would take us 50 minutes to do a new personal best. A few cars into the pits, and Nurmela is in, Gafenko is in, Underhill, Warmingham. 4 of those guys are coming into the pits to make their stop, which means now that only the top 6 have yet to come in. So we're waiting for that.
Yeah, Dave Baker's gone down to 18th, Bibby's down to 17th, Shield and Freitas 15th and 16th. So yeah, Camilleri then has settled down in time, 1 minute 8.4. So now that his tyres are starting to come back to him, he is pegging the gap.
Wonder if this means then that when Evdoka comes in, he will have a quicker pit stop time because he doesn't have to put as much fuel in to get to the end.
He should, yeah. I mean, the longer he goes, the better that situation's going to be for him. And here's Nurmela then. You see Hackerson in the Ford going through, going up Eau Rouge and Radion.
Keith Camilleri, quickest pit stop of the race so far. One of the quickest pit stops anyway, 21.9.
Michael Blake's in the pits as well. 21.1 I found is the quickest one, and that was by Andy Shield.
He was one of the first in as well. Which
oh, look at this. Freitas versus Shield, in fact. Side by side up the Kemmel straight, Adam, and into the come. This could be... Well, Shield has got this one, I think.
Yep, slingshotted straight by the BMW. That's that top end speed in the Ferrari.
Baker versus Underhill. Sorry, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay.
Keep cutting you off, but Baker versus Underhill are side by side there. Into Lecombe.
That was the straight out speed of the Ferrari when the driver that is piloting it wants to actually use it. Here come 4 of them in. Evdoka stays out, which doesn't really surprise me too much considering the amount of fuel he is trying to save. And Shano's in, Barry Baird's in, Helm is, and Tabona's in as well. But where is Camilleri?
This is the most excruciating pit lane, isn't it? Of the season. Camilleri is coming through Paul Frere, so he's got quite a distance still to go. But of course, in the meantime, Challoner is in his pit box.
Just hit his pit box now. Here is the track map then.
So 20 seconds, yeah. It's going to be close.
Over line goes Camilleri. I reckon Challoner's got about 5 seconds left in his pit box, and as you can see, he's right by the pit lane exit.
He's going. Oh, he's going to be fine, isn't he?
Yeah, no sign of Camilleri.
I mean, he does have to go up that slowish, the sort of medium speed chicane at the top of the hill. He's not going full chat like Camilleri is, but it's not even going to be a contest. There he is. There is Christian Challoner. There is Keith Camilleri. Speaking of Michael Evdoka, we're going to see his pit stop soon. Is it going to be this lap, Adam?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. 55 minutes into the race then. There is a bit of traffic in front. You are right. That is Michael Blake in the Immortal Small Time car who pitted a couple of laps ago. It's going to be the opportunity for the Ferrari to come in. Now he's in. In. That's the yellow cone and lane speed limiter. I tell you what, it's a good thing that there is a pit lane speed limiter because I'd hate to be trying to modulate the throttle and try and keep it at that set speed for as long as it is.
Can you imagine a NASCAR race if here? In fact, a NASCAR probably wouldn't fit through the pit lane entry gap that there is. It's very close. Woodhouse is up to third meanwhile because he hasn't pitted, so fair play to him for saving so much fuel.
And now it's all going to be about Challoner. Keith Camilleri might have a say in it still, but look at the gap that it is. It looks bigger than it looks bigger than it actually is. It's only 1.93 seconds, and see what Keith can do. Here is Evdoka.
Michael Evdoka. Christian Rose is in as well. From what is second place really? What was about 8th place on the road. And Woodhouse is in too, so he was third. But he's going to drop down to probably about 15th place, I would wager.
Yeah, the final 3 cars they get to stop come in, all driving for different teams. Texense, Fitstye, CQR Club, and Team Mad.
So here comes Challoner. He's coming out of La Source. Evdoka's got to get a move on.
It's a long stop. 22.
He's away. He's away. There's Challoner. He's coming to the bottom of the hill. He's gonna go. He's going full speed, Adam. I think he's gonna take it. He takes him. Is Camilleri going to take him as well? I don't think he is. Might be fairly close, but Christian Challoner, what a lap that was. What a couple of laps that was before the pits to just turn the screw on the opposition and really assert himself on this race. That is wonderful driving in the Endurance Series.
I'm just having a look at some of the personal best times that have been set in this race so far. And that 2:13.0 just before he came into the pits, that would be a respectable starting position on the grid. I reckon you'd probably be within the top 2 rows, and that is turned this top 3 on its head literally, because he was third, Camilleri was first. Evdoka's not really lost anything in all this really, and now all of a sudden the Porsche leads when it was a Ferrari 1-2-3. And look at Hackerson, his pit stop window has been done to perfection. The flying Ford, is up in 4th.
He was one of the ones who pitted early on though, wasn't he? He only pitted on lap 3, so I doubt he's got enough to go to the end. In fact, I know he hasn't got enough to go to the end.
He's been in the... Yeah, he pitted on lap 3 and he's only in there for 8 minutes, 8 seconds.
He may have a relatively quick stop when he well, he will have a relatively quick stop when he comes in, but it's really cooked his goose because it's still going to be 40 to 50 second pit lane loss. So Hackerson really is 17th at the minute, effectively, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing in a normal circuit with a normal length pit lane, as you would say, Adam, having to come in and do a splash and dash at somewhere like maybe I don't know, Manicor or somewhere like that, he's not really a problem.
Well, yeah, Ferrari used it to their advantage in 2004 with the 4-stop race for Schumacher there. He
might have come out in sort of 10th, 11th place if he was somewhere like that, but here the pit lane is so egregious that he just sort of, you know, you cannot afford to make more stops than you really, really have to.
Right then, race order with a third of the race to go. It is Christian Challoner, a quarter of the race to go.
Will they be putting tyres on here? One thing I didn't really see is whether whether these guys actually took any tyres. You wouldn't think so if the fuel is. You wouldn't think so with the amount of fuel that went with the pit stop time.
No, I think I think it should just be about fuel for this one. Interestingly, Avdoka is being shown as green on the last lap time, so even though it was an outlap for him, there were some green sectors in there, and as you can see, the gap is just under a second. So we'll now wait and see whether he is closing it a little bit.
I will say, by the way, the difference, you were right about the pit stop being a bit long for Avdoka. I mean, it wasn't that long, but it was 1.2 seconds slower than that of Christian Challoner. So Challoner's was 20.8, Avdoka's was 22.08, and that was the difference. He came out 1 second behind him.
Although, isn't it, the fine margins of the World GT Championship, it looked like that Texans Pitstone Motorsport had pulled it off. They still could, but now they are in second place, and they've got a little bit of work to do in the final thirds of the race. One thing this has done is that it's meant that all the pro drivers are in the top 15, and all the AM drivers are all clumped together in the second part of the field from 16th downwards, and you can see that from the track map as well.
I think they've all had. I think some of those guys have had issues as well. We know Gregory's had issues.
Yeah.
Hackison's in the pits from P4. It will be interesting to see how much time he does lose. He's only got to put fuel in for half an hour. So, but I think it's going to be a similar pit stop time. I probably reckon about 18, 19 seconds, Adam. Oh, that's Baird versus Tabone. Baird ended up going onto the runoff area. I'm not quite sure what whether that was him defending or him attacking.
Tries to get by there. Look at the time.
He's had a terrible pit stop phase, hasn't he, Barry Baird? Because he was right with Christian Challoner.
Oh yeah, he was in the top 5, I think.
He was fourth, wasn't he? He was right behind. He was right behind Challoner. He was only 2 seconds behind him. I think when Challoner pitted, so 23.9 second stop, but that doesn't account for him losing what's effectively been 15 seconds or so.
Yeah, it was a one. I'm trying to look at his pit lane time. Yeah, it was
not
a long
there
one.
for me.
No, it's not there for me either. But which brings us on nicely to the big winners then from for this pit stop window. Obviously, Barry Baird, one of the big losers here, but Challoner, big winner. Marco Nomella, because of that, is now up in P4. Richie Kafenku in P5. Nicholas Helm has descended to 7th place now in the Nomad Sim Racing White. So he's lost a few places from there. And Christian Rose up in 6th too.
Just a bit of news on Hackison. Sorry, he's come out 1 second behind Michael Blake. So 20th place for Hackison, 17.5 second stop. He was 3 seconds quicker than that of the leaders, but he was out of contention. Obviously down to the fact that he had to come in early. Now, Helm versus Tabone. This is Tabone going round the outside of Helm like he's not even there.
Car lap down there. Helm might help out his teammate here. Into the bus stop chicane.
He's 8th place, isn't he, Helm? Yeah. I don't know what's happening to Helm's car to cause these sudden losses of pace that seem to last for, let's say, 30 seconds or so, and then he seems to come back to top. It seems to come back to top level.
I don't know if maybe it was a curb that he struck somewhere or something.
Might damage the floor, do you think?
Something looks like it's affecting the top end speed. Let's see what Barry Baird can do this time. It was a pretty good run from the Beamer on the exit there.
I think he looked like he cut the course there, to be honest, Adam. I think he was very, very marginal with the slowdown penalty there. But look at that. Look at the overspeed he's got. Helm has got nothing. Oh, he's got front right damage. Where did that come from? He hasn't had that all the time, has he?
No, that looks almost like a recent development.
That was not there a minute ago. Very strange.
It's manifested itself somehow. Delayed reaction to what has been causing him to be so slow earlier. But perhaps, I don't know. But Barry Baird, easy pickings for his teammate. The BMW now up into P8, back where he started, and see the steering wheel that Barry Baird has to control. And the on-screen display as well, which should, it probably, you could probably see it on the stream. It's probably one of the things I've turned off. You can see the rear-view mirror on that.
Yeah, it's quite a good innovation, that big camera mirror, isn't it? I think it definitely makes it a bit easier for the driver. It's more in their eye level, isn't it? Sort of just glance across.
Especially when you're strapped in, pretty much so that the only thing you can move is your arms.
Yeah, your head, you can't really tilt your head very, very well to look at the mirrors always. Now then. Oh, look at that. Especially with the FIA as well. I know this doesn't really pertain to this race, but especially in Formula 1 with the FIA sort of making the visors mandatory, making the mandatory size of the visor a lot smaller to make the helmets a bit safer. Oh, and that's a problem. Now that's that looks like a very similar thing to what happened a couple of laps ago, Adam, and very, very curious. Yeah, very, very strange, really. Tabone just almost stopped on the inside of Lassos.
Yeah, and Barry Baird literally almost went. Well, I think he did actually go straight into the back of him, but no damage has been picked up at all.
I think he tapped him. Yeah, here's Shield versus Miguel Freitas.
Behold the speed of the Ferrari. Maybe he's got a toe, but BMW is actually pulling away a little bit there.
A big thick boy doing a good job.
Now that could be either the speed of the Team As car, but let's not forget that Andy Shield was one of the very first of the cars to come in. Maybe he has a little bit of calculation still to do for the final 23 minutes, perhaps. Okay.
Yeah, 23 minutes to go. This is the World GT Championship on the iRacing Esports Network, presented by Apex Racing TV. Andrew Woodhouse, Adam Bath, and Alex Simpson on the cameras tonight, doing a good job as usual. And he's had his hands full with this race at times, but it's been very good indeed. And a very competitive race, very close race at the front, Adam. And we've had lead changes. We had a great pit stop battle, one of the best I've seen in, Oh, and there goes Andy Shield into the gravel, but hasn't actually affected him too much.
No, it hasn't. He's done pretty well in a pretty interesting race. These 90-minute enduros, we don't really do too many of them, and it does throw up occasions like this on one of the best tracks on the service, where we do get to see these mind games of the strategy and who can work it to their advantage. And obviously seen some of the big winners here. Looking here at Lewis Bibby, who is just one place away from getting back to where he started after that spin at the end of the opening lap. So contender maybe for drive performance of the day anyway from him. On a short list along with Christian Challoner, among just to name two.
Yeah, Ethan Bass, Dave Baker. Definitely had a great job. Marco Nomella certainly risen through the rankings as well from 9th place. Now, Bibby's got a good run here. It looks like he's going to have a little chance at Shield maybe at the top of the hill, Adam.
Pedals to the metal at this point. Under the
flat out.
Flat out. On the brakes. Gaining, but just not enough. Down into fourth gear into the Les Combes chicane. Look at the time he's gaining there through just the first few corners. Now on the run through Malmedy towards Rivage from the helicopter here.
Looks like the BMW is getting stronger almost as the race is going on here. So we get some great views of some trees.
Oh wow. A canopy there.
That must be the most advanced helicopter in the world. You can go through a canopy of trees.
Combine helicopter. I don't know. Maybe there's a better word for that.
No, that's exactly what it would do.
Yeah.
Now then. What is Miguel Freitas going to do to try and stave off Andy Shield and Lewis Bibby. It could be a tough ask because Shield has proven himself to be very strong in this race. Bibby looks like he's the current man with the pace at the moment. In fact, Bibby's the third fastest man on the circuit that last time round. 2:13.7, very close to his personal best, in fact. In case you're wondering, actually, the gap at the front has gone up to 1.5 seconds. So if Docker is just out of range, although he was a quarter of a second quicker on the previous lap, Adam, so it's not over yet. We've still got a World GT Championship race length to go.
Yeah, we've literally just entered the final 20 minutes. So, yeah, these guys are going to have to reset and maybe get into the sprint race mode. And look at this, great exit here. Not the best exit for Miguel Freitas either. He could be under threat from maybe even both of them if he doesn't have the best run through Eau Rouge and Radion. Deal's right there.
Yeah, he is, and maybe the drivers are going to have to start thinking about their tyres into the last 20 minutes as well, because yes, you can double stint these tyres, but depending on... it's fairly cool out there, though. Don't think it's going to be... It shouldn't be a major issue, but you certainly don't want to overwork them, because if you do get into a slide, you do start locking up, this tyre model will just escalate the temperatures. It was a bit messy through Lecombe from Bibby, but looks like he's still in touch. See Dave Baker in the background and Richard Warmingham just half a second apart.
Rose and Tabone also just 0.2 of a second apart there too. Or is it Tabone and Baird? Trying to work that one out. Tabone and Baird, sorry, they're 0.2 of a second, 0.2 of a second apart.
Yeah.
1/10
Yeah, it looks very close
apart.
actually. I wonder if we can have a look at that. P7 and P8. So that looks very close, that one does.
There it is.
And now, if a BMW is behind you, it would literally fill your mirrors, Adam. It's massive, isn't it?
It's huge, and I know we joke about that with many jokes on the internet, but yeah, the BMW is a mightily big car, and Barry Baird has been behind the wheel. He's been hurling it about on his Spa-Francorchamps so far today.
He definitely did run into him earlier on, because he does have a slight... It's like he does have a slight crumpling of the front grille of that M8. Now, this will be the interesting corner, Adam, because this is where it all kicked off a couple of times for Baird. Once behind Hjelm and this time behind Tabone.
Yeah, we've seen it twice so far. Okay.
Apologies if you're seeing a bit of technical issue at home. We're looking to resolve that one soon.
Drop frames, hopefully not too many drop positions for any of these guys late on over the top of the hill.
Hopefully nobody drops it at Radion, because that could be the end of your race. And now here is... I'm surprised nobody has crashed there actually so far, as the GT cars sometimes get a bit unstable over the crest, but Barry Baird going round the outside of Brandon Tabone. Tabone fights back, and he's on the inside for Malmedy. Oh, he's going to give him a bit of room. They're still side by side into Rivage. Can he go around the outside, Baird? There's not a lot of grip there. He's still side by side. This is brilliant stuff. Tabone's going to try and hang it around the outside, but he can't quite keep it. He does have a little bit of a run into Pouon, though. It's going to have to be very, very brave indeed.
Yeah, Barry Baird's got to hold on now for the next couple of laps, because Brandon Tabone's car was quick when he didn't have a tow. Now he's got a massive BMW punching a massive hole in the air in front of him, so this Ferrari could be pretty quick.
Very, very skilled battle, though, out there on track after 73 minutes of driving. I know that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot of concentration, and you could easily lock a wheel in these cars. You can easily slide wide or get on the power a bit too much and lose the rear of the car, and as we said, maybe up Eau Rouge and Radion, if the car gets light, maybe after 75 minutes, you know, you might lose a little bit of focus, but not so for these guys. Having a great run. And here we go, Tabone. He's not giving this one up. He gets a better exit than Baird, it looks like.
What you can do over the line, then you can see just how bright the sun is as we're in the final quarter of an hour.
There's no doubt about that, and it is the sun.
Massive asteroid or something.
Well, that's from the light source to last source, and the run down the hill from there is an important one. Neither of them got the best run out there. Oh, they're getting very close to the inside, getting very, very close to cutting the course, getting a slowdown penalty. Good overspeed by Tabone, but he's not going to quite get there, I don't think.
I guess a gap down to 0.2 of a second. A few drivers in the Porsche Esports Super Cup at the Sim Racing Expo got a few penalties for that. I think Bibby has just got by Miguel Freitas. Lewis Bibby is now back where he started, P11.
Yeah,
there
fair
you
play
go.
to him. He's had an eventful one, hasn't he?
With 15 minutes to spare, he's back there.
It looks like we lost Ben Hackerson a couple of laps ago.
Yeah, 10 minutes ago. He was the man that pitted very early on. Came into the pits a couple of laps ago, and I think 10 minutes ago makes me think that when he came back into the pits, he hasn't left. So,
it says he's at 3 stops. So he must have had to have another one. Don't really know why. Mark Fletcher's still out there, by the way, the championship leader, but he is down in 22nd place, and he is 4 laps down at the moment.
Well, these drivers did have to go through a thorough process to get in this series. So many entries were submitted for the this season of the World GT Championship that they had to have their own qualifier series. And so all these guys are in this series based on their own individual merits. And it's a quality action so far as we are now in the final quarter of an hour.
Yeah, and doesn't look like it's completely over either. Still only 1.6 seconds at the front. It's just tantalisingly close for Evdoka, isn't it, Adam? He's just out of reach.
Yeah, and the gap's gone up a little bit, in fact. Yeah, 1.8 seconds. He just needs to maybe gain maybe a couple of attempts more, and then he might have a bit of help with the slipstream. I think Brandon Tabone has... Barry Baird's crashed.
Oh.
Barry Baird has crashed, and he might be out of the race. He's come back onto the track, but has he got any damage? Barry Baird is in 10th place now.
Well, Bibby's going to go through here, surely. He has, up into 10th place. This is Baird. He's had some issues into La Source, hasn't he? Exits it. Oh, and spins the wheels on the AstroTurf into the concrete wall. Just get it off the racing line, though. And he rejoins decently. So still going. He probably has a little bit of damage, but probably nothing. Oh, that was a great move by Bibby, wasn't it? That's brave. That was very brave indeed, but that was really, really nice. Round the outside, going up the hill.
And with the approaching speed that he had to think quickly and darted to the inside and was able to get the move done into the first part of Eau Rouge. So that is what transpired there. Barry Baird now in 12th position as we see the end of the replay. So, in fact, it is pretty close for pretty much 10th place on back. You can see it here all on your screen. You've got Bibby, then Freitas, then Baird here, then Dave Baker, and then Rich Warmingham. So, going on here.
Yeah, Shield versus Bibby is the battle, really, isn't it, at the moment? I think that's the one for 9th and 10th. Andy Shields gained 16 places from 25th, where he started. Bibby started 11th, went all the way to the back. He was facing the wrong way on the first lap, as we said. He's now up to P10.
Just over 10 minutes to go as well in this one.
I feel like we might be stuck on the replay here, so see what... there we go. Hey.
There you go. Alex, I know you're multitasking as ever, trying to resolve putting out many fires, I reckon. And speaking of this...
Oh, he's missed it! He's missed it, Baird! Yet again! Makes a right mess of... Oh, no, it wasn't Baird, it was Freitas. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just halfway on my way to commentators cursing Lewis Bibby. Unfortunately, you managed to get in there just as Peters just missed him.
Sorry, yeah, it was a completely.
What a moment that was.
Sorry, yeah, it was
Yeah.
the wrong. It was the wrong person. Sorry about that, Barry. It was Miguel Freitas.
Oh, here
Did
comes
a
Baker.
right mess of that though, didn't he?
Yeah. Kudos to him for avoiding everybody. Looks like Dave Baker has got by Barry Baird now.
It was Baird that he nearly ran into, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Helm versus Andy Shield.
Shield through.
Yeah, Shield up into 8th then. And that rids him of Bibby, doesn't it, really? That's a car between him and Lewis Bibby.
17 places gain now for Andy Shield.
He's flying, isn't he, really? Richard Gafenku's going well as well. He's he looks like he's slowly closing in on Nurmela. It looks very close. 4th and 5th is 1.7 seconds.
Oh, Nurmela has just lost a place to Gafenku.
So there must have been an incident for Nurmela. Let's see. Yep.
So, apologies to everybody on the Twitch and the Facebook streams. We're going to be leaving you here, but make sure to switch over to the iRacing Esports Network's YouTube channel, where we will carry on and bring you the completion of the World GT Championship there now. So anybody that's watching on the Twitch and the Facebook live streams will be leaving you now, but we'll be carrying on the action over on the iRacing Esports Network.
Welcome back, everyone, to iRacing Esports Network then. Apex Racing TV bringing you the World GT Championship. Andrew Woodhouse, Adam Bath, Alex Simpson, the crew tonight.
And here
comes Lewis Bibby on Helm, and Helm's woes continue, Adam.
Just been a never-ending drop down the field, really, hasn't it? He's now down to 10th place as a result. Nurmela here in 5th, with Christian Rose for company. We didn't really see what happened to him. I know Alex is doing many things at the moment to see why he went off the track. Barry Baird's been off the track as well recently, so a few things have transpired, but here we are. It's just over a 2-minute lap, so with 7 minutes to go, just over 7 minutes to go, there's not going to be too many tours left here.
No, and Nurmela himself had a problem, didn't he? And that's why he's in the clutch of Christian Rose, because he was in front of Richard Gafenku just a minute ago. And that damage on the... He must have crashed, Adam, because he's now got a front left damage, and you can see Rose just cruising up to the back of him effortlessly, and surely he's going to have a go into the bus stop.
Porsche's looking mighty in the closing stages. We saw that with Chaloner. Now we're looking at it with Christian Rose.
Not.
Pretty close, but not close enough. Close but no cigar.
Rose, of course, very experienced in the touring cars.
Yeah.
And so he can make an overtake work when he needs to. Many times he's been in the thick of the action in the BSRTC.
One of the closest battles we've got on the circuit. In fact, we've got a few cars that are separated by less than a second as we're into the closing stages of this one. Make sure to give this stream a like and give the iRacing Esports Network a subscribe as well. Make sure you give Apex Racing TV one as well. I'll put that in. Click the bell icon as well so you never miss a live stream. Here comes Rose.
We'll send you.
Don't worry about that.
We'll send you the money later. Rose goes around the outside of Nurmela. It's quite easy in the end for Christian Rose, as the Finn looks like he's struggling with. It looks like he's really struggling with that BMW at the moment.
Obviously, it being an hour-and-a-half race, could tyres maybe even be coming to this a little bit.
Yeah, possibly, but I think he just seemed to have the. He must have hit the barrier or something, and carried on. we didn't quite see what happened to him really, but it was it obviously delayed him quite a lot.
2 tenths of a second between Rich Rawmingham and Barry Baird. Baird is now down in 13th place. I think they were exchanging positions, and I think Rich Rawmingham has now come out on top. So Rich is now in 12th, Barry Baird down to 13th place. And at the beginning of the programme, we talked about how close the championship is and an opportunity for TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport to maybe leapfrog ahead of Radicals Online Motor. And looking at the positions with a couple of laps to go, you could suggest that maybe that might be the case, because Evdoka sat in second, you've got Bibby in ninth. The highest, it's been a disaster for Motor with Ben Hackerson out, Fletcher out, and both Fletchers out. In fact, their only car that's still running is, in fact, none of them are running. So yeah, that's a nightmare of a meeting for TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport. I think one thing that may help them is that some of them were still running when the 45-minute halfway race points were dished out. That might help them a bit, but TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport, this has been a fantastic meeting, and it should get them back into second place, barring no major calamities in the closing stages.
Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? You'd hope that nothing major befalls a lot of them. That's for sure. Coming up as well on Apex Racing TV this week, we do have a round of the SMRC Championship. That's going to be on Wednesday night at 7:30, and then on Thursday, as usual, it will be the ARL TCR Winter Series, and you can see that race here on the iRacing Esports Network. And Adam, the series premiered the first round last week. It was very, very good, wasn't it? And yeah, we're looking at some more great action with the Audi.
Yeah, Silverstone GP for that last week. Completely different this week, though. The series will be heading to Snetterton.
Oh.
From Northampton, we go to Norfolk, and 3 races there, one of the most narrow circuits, and one of the most difficult to overtake as well. Just ask Ash Sutton and Jason Plato about that.
Yeah, we can see Alex Simpson in that one as well. I'm sure he's thinking about how he's going to navigate the tight confines of Snetterton. Yeah, so I mean, that's going to be mental. There were over 50 cars last week, so good luck to everyone getting a qualifying lap in.
I think if we're going to get 6 wide there, then I think that's that'd be something.
Everyone's done for if it's 6 wide. Can we just talk about Christian Challoner just for a minute? I mean, the second half of the race especially has been an absolute masterclass.
He just switched it on within the final 3 laps of his stint, and what a entered first stint it was. He was about 3 seconds away from the top 2, who had been pretty much doing their own conservative pace at the front.
Well, it was him and Barry Baird, wasn't it? They were 3rd and 4th, and Camilleri and Evdoka were battling over the lead. And then when they had a little bit of a delay, Adam, Challoner just sensed the blood in the water, didn't he?
Yeah, the door was open just a little bit, and then he managed to push it open even further. And when it came to the pit stops, the door was wide open for him to try and take the lead, and he fully obliged. He walked through that door, and now that's in P1, hoping that his Porsche can just hold on for another 90 seconds or so, plus a bit of change as well to complete the next lap. He
overcut Camilleri. He simultaneously undercut Evdoka. Just absolutely, just a wonderful drive. The car is clean as a whistle as well. It's obviously not clean, as you can see, but no damage, and just a tremendous performance. And there should be one more lap here. Although I don't know actually.
Should be.
It's going to be close though, isn't it? Once he gets round, because of course the finish line is. I think we always get this when we come here. Is the finish line on the normal point?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the timing line is the exit of the bus stop. It's just the start line that's the run into into Eau Rouge. No win yet this season yet for Christian Challenger. He's finished second a couple of times, and they were in the first 2 race meetings. So he's only been on the podium once since then, in fact, at Belle Isle, which was one of the other Enduros that we've been to this season.
It
But we
does
did like this
sometimes
one.
suit different drivers, doesn't it? The longer races. Some of the drivers can do 20 minutes and get burnt out. Some of them prefer to do 20 hours almost. They would, some of them, if they could choose to be in the car for that long, would be. This is a great battle for 11th place as Challenger just coming round to begin the final lap. But this is Richard Warmingham, Nicholas Hiel, who's just dropping down. And look at the overspeed of Freitas, having a look on bed. Both of these guys, Adam, have had major issues slowing the car down for the slow corners.
Both able to get through there for their sake. Yeah, Freitas had a massive one here as Red Sky at Night here.
Oh! Shield
Bibby into
versus
the back of
Bibby.
Shield. Yeah.
It's on the last lap. That could be interesting. Apparently Ben Gregory's crashed on the final lap, so not great for him. But this is for P8. Who's going to get the spoils? Is it going to be Andy Shield? Is it going to be Lewis Bibby? Is it going to be Ferrari? Is it going to be BMW? Oh!
Ducking and diving all over the place. Is the BMW going to send it? Bibby's had a fantastic race up to this point. He is up the inside into Lake Colm, and he does make the corner. And Andy Shield is demoted to 9th. Lewis Bibby has gained 3 places, and he was last at the end of the opening lap. So fantastic job. He's up to P8.
Makes you wonder exactly what he could have achieved. He probably could have been 4th or 5th without the spin. But this is the man who, the man of the hour, the man who started in 3rd on the grid, and he was there for quite some time, as we said. He spent pretty much all the first stint just conserving the car, conserving the fuel, not doing anything stupid. But then the leader's starting to battle. He seized his opportunity with some of the best laps I've ever seen either side of a pit stop. And Christian Challenger rounds the bus stop chicane for the final time, and he takes the win in round 18 of the World GT Championship here on the iRacing Esports Network. And that was some of the best endurance driving you're ever likely to see.
Fantastic drive by him. Fantastic strategy throughout the entire race, and his first win of the campaign. Here comes Richard Gafencu. He's going to finish in P4 with Christian Rose completing the top 5 there.
Rose very happy.
Very close still between Bibby and Shield in the fight for 8th and 9th. They're not too far away from getting home. And look at this into the bus.
Oh, it's not over. Shield's going to go for the mega cutback, and he's not going to get it, but it was worth a try. Oh, yes.
Out of fuel.
Out of fuel. And Baker
beat him, yeah. Oh,
as he tried to make that cutback, the car was spluttering.
Yeah. He was one of the early cars to make that pit stop, let's not forget. And
yeah, he was. It was lap 20 for him.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, that was the earliest of the drivers. In fact, and Dan Kraft, he was the earliest of the drivers who made it to the end of the race. And that's Ben Gregory. That's what remains of the Texans Fitstyle Motorsport Ferrari. Yeah, he crashed on the penultimate lap and brings it home gingerly, and yeah, not in the best fashion for Gregory. Here comes Dan Kraft, yep.
Jinx, and overlining P18. He was one of the cars that was around at the exit of Pouon. Had to get the car going again. Here's Michael Blake. That car sounds like it's out of fuel.
Well, is that going to provide... who's behind him there?
Cough.
Chris Wood. Oh, Chris Wood's going to get this, I think. Oh, these out of fuel as well, I think.
No.
Are they both out of fuel? I think they're both out of fuel, are they?
There you go. And across the line. In 20 for 21st.
I don't think Chris Wood could have done anything about that at all. Unless he wasn't out of fuel and he just allowed Blake to take the position, I do not know, but yeah, formation flying from the front runners on the cool down lap, and
Shows you how
that was very
yeah,
very good indeed, wasn't it?
shows you how close they run these things. The fuel, must admit. To be fair, we did the BSRTC on Sunday, and I was running out of fuel on the way back to the pits after the 30-minute race free.
Well, they pretty much had an
yeah.
extra lap, didn't they? Oh, because it was so close with the timing over the line.
Race results up on your screen then. Christian Challoner gets his first win of the campaign. Michael Evdoka finishes in second place for TechSense Fitstime Motorsport. Keith Camilleri was leading for pretty much the entirety of the first half of the race. In fact, he did lead for the first half of
Pretty
the race.
much an hour, wasn't it, that he led the race for?
So he would have got some decent points for doing that. Plus, he finished in third place as well. So that is still pretty good. Richard Gofenko, his teammate, finishes 12 seconds behind him in fourth. And Christian Rose in fifth. A good drive by him.